Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the call for tonight or for today. um, we are going to be talking about building an audience, and of course, taking any questions you might have. So, if you're watching by YouTube or and you're here live, please feel free to just write your question here in the box. I think I can see everyone's. I'm pretty sure I can see everyone's question here. So, I think, and we've got the live link in there this time. So we've got the live link inside of the group. So again, if you're here and you've got a question that you'd like to see us try to tackle, hello Dana. Please just go ahead and write it in the box, and then we'll do our best to get to it. And okay, any questions? Anything that you folks want to talk about? Any questions? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my presentation. Oh, that's a little weird. So what's happening here? Let's see. Let's try that again here. All right, there we go. Okay, all right, very good. Any questions before we get started? Any questions about anything? All right, so let's talk about building an audience. Um, First of all, if you're looking for any of our other PLR video, you can get that at plrexperts.com, and we've got a number of titles over there. We've got another title coming out this weekend. It's going to be a little more technical, showing you how to get your virtual server started with Web Host Manager, and a few tricks to that. So make sure you're looking for that Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, if you got any questions, write them there inside of the chat box. Any questions, you can write them right there in YouTube. Okay, so let's talk about how to build, define, build, and engage an audience. Okay, so what's an audience, right? So that's kind of the first question. So what are we even talking about? And an audience is really simply any group of people that'll listen to you on the topic they're interested in, right? So it's not just listening to you, and some people are good at that now. And I know that, maybe you're on social media, maybe you're on Facebook, and people seem to be able to kind of attract people to listen to them. They've got a little bit of star power, or they're funny, or they're entertaining, and so they get people interested, sort of because they're interesting about the things they're talking about. Now, that may or may not be an audience, right? I don't know. Sometimes you can use that in order to get people to buy stuff, and other times you can't. And again, that is probably going to be the 5%, right? Some people are just, I mean, they're just interesting, and more than likely, if they were not on social media, if they were in the middle of a room, they'd be that person also. But that again, 95% of us are not that person. So I'm probably not talking to you if you can just kind of attract people to start listening to you every place or any place that you go. Um, these are people that will attend a training you do, right? Because they're interested in the topic. It's not so much that you are interesting, right? Even though you probably are. It's because they're interested in what they want to discuss. Maybe it's a group of people that'll watch your videos on a regular basis. So you put out videos on a regular basis. These are people that watch them, right? This is your audience. They watch more than one video. If you do a live broadcast, they'll be there. They'll watch it. This will be a group of people that'll read your emails. Now, again, when I say videos, also, I mean your recorded videos. So just because they don't attend live, that doesn't mean that they're not your audience. If they watch your stuff, even if it's recorded at your audience, this is a group of people that'll read your emails, right? They read your emails, so that might be your audience. It's a group of people that'll read your social media posts. I mean, regardless of what you post, and it's not so much again because you're witty or you're funny, right? These are people that are interested in what they want you to discuss about their issue, right? So that's what they're interested in. People are always interested more in themselves than they are in any particular thing, right? This is a group of people that'll, if you have a podcast, this is a group of people that'll be listening to that podcast. So this that could be this people. It could be the people that tune into your online radio broadcast if you have a blog talk radio show or something like that. This is a group of people that would attend a live in-person training that you conduct, right? So they would come to this. That would be your audience. So we're trying to figure out, well, what is an audience? These are people that are listening to you because you're talking about something they're concerned about. You're talking about something that'll help them. You're talking about something that they want you to discuss, and they want to hear your thoughts about something they're either trying to accomplish, something they're trying to achieve, something they're trying to solve, something they're trying to get rid of, and you know how to talk about it. Or they may just flat out disagree with you, but they're still listening to you. Right. So it's not even all that important necessarily that they fully agree with everything you say. Sometimes they're listening to you on a regular basis just because they disagree with you. Right. That's still your audience. So what do you tell us? So what do you need to do? Well, one of the things you've got to do is you've got to make your content dependable. So in other words, I've said this on a number of different in a number of different ways, on a number of different trainings. I need to be able to count on when you're going to be there, right? So in other words, you need to have something on a regular day, a regular time of the month, preferably even a regular time of the day, right? Now this training is typically at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday nights, right? That's on purpose. You need to do the same thing and when possible. Now, tonight's obviously going to be different, but it's a difference in the time, right? Typically, if you've come to this before, you know we do it at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it does help with attendance. It does help with people that actually know they're going to be able to tune into it, even if they watch the replay, right? So make your content dependable. Do it at a specific time. Make sure you announce that specific time. If that's going to be once a month, right? You've got to make an event out of that once a month. It's got to be a thing. So it can't just be, well, I've got this really cool training. I can check it out anytime. Well, yeah, that's good, but I need to know when the new one is going to be available. So it's got to be almost like an episode. Again, we are still a television society, even though not a lot of us watch television, but television shows still come on, right, at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whenever the case. Um, Make your content relevant. So in other words, talk about the things that people are concerned about who are listening to you. So if you're probably going to be talking about things within a specific niche. And so whatever that niche is, you got to talk about things in the niche. Preferably, you want to sub down the niche. So in other words, break it down further so that you can build your audience down. Again, what you're trying to do is, when you can, sand or file down the audience, right? Try to narrow it down. Try to get it smaller so you can grow it. When you start talking about something really tiny and specific, so that you're really touching on something that people are concerned about, you will find that you're able to break the audience down first, get really specific, and then build it up from there, right? So make it really relevant to a specific person. Um, Make your content consumable, right? Make it consumable. So it doesn't need to be 3 hours, right? It doesn't need to be, let's say, really, really, really long, 2,000 words. Now, again, that might make you attractive in search, but nobody wants to read a 2,000 word article, even if you're a Pulitzer Prize article writer, right? Even if you are, even if you're the superior writer. I mean, most people are just not going to take an hour and sit down and read 2,000 words. They've got their mobile device, right? They're going to skim that. So again, make it consumable. Make your content accessible. So in other words, I need to be able to get to it. You got to be thinking that if I'm going to get your content, I'm going to be on my mobile device. You've got to assume that I'm going to be in a jam, right? So it can't be something that's going to be hard for me to get to, that I've got to have 2 or 3 different apps, and I've got to have different kind of stuff to open it, and I'm not going to be able to get to it. It needs to be accessible, right? So again, I'm going to talk a little bit about repurposing a little later, but you've got to make it so that people can get to it, so people can access it. Make it interesting. And this pretty much means, again, I think it was Alex Mondosian years ago. He might still say this. In order to make something interesting, you've got to be interested. So in other words, I'm not an advocate that you necessarily got to do the niche that you're passionate about, but you do need to be interested. in what you're talking about, because that's going to come across. And when people are listening to you or reading what you're writing, if you're disinterested, you're gonna run people off, because you're just not going to have you're just not going to put in the kind of effort into it if you were something talking about something you're really interested in, right? So be interested in what you're talking about. Now, again, I'm gonna say this: when you can make it entertaining, do that, right? And again, please don't try to be funny if you're not. I mean, I know I'm not, so I mean, I don't make a lot of effort to try to be, this really funny guy, right? But if you can, when you can do something entertaining, do it, right? And again, that doesn't mean you have to stand on your head. Doesn't mean you have to be a jokester if you're not one, right? But whenever you can, you get these opportunities, be entertaining. Um, Make it findable. Now, I'm not talking about spending, I'd say, your whole life trying to get ranked in search. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm saying, though, here's what I mean by that. Let's say that I know that you do a workshop. I don't know when it is. I don't know how to find it, but I Google your name and workshop. I should be able to find out where this workshop is if I do a simple Google search with a few keywords, not a lot of them. So that's what I mean by findable. So in other words, if I know you do a workshop in your area, right, I should be able to put in the city name. I should be able to put your name in there, and I should be able to put in workshop. I should be able to find out how to get to your workshop. So make it findable. So if you don't have something that is in search that's findable, then basically those people that kind of hear, why, wow, I hear this guy, he's got a workshop, he does it on Thursday mornings. It's on internet marketing, it's in Harrisburg. If they can't find out where that is, then you got to do a better job of getting something in the search engines that lets people know that every Thursday there's this thing you do, and where they can find it, where they can sign up for it, where they can go at the last minute in order to be part of it. Right now, make your content specific. Now, again, that's what I'm talking about. Again, um, you're trying to build an audience, so you're trying to talk about something. You're not trying to talk about everything. Internet marketing is too broad, right? CPA marketing, probably still too broad. CPA marketing, where you're talking about, let's say, a specific kind of offer, that's probably about specific enough. Because again, there are probably already audiences out there talking about the general, or people who have star power who can talk about the general. But in order for you to get to the point where you can talk about the general stuff and still have people come on a regular basis, you got to start building up the audience. You build up the audience by getting specific, and then you build up, right? So you file down and get it specific, get people to attend, and then you use word of mouth to start to build it up. So again, make it specific in order to build up your audience. Message over medium. So in other words, don't focus on the medium, focus on the message. Worry about whether or not you're creating real help for people, right? Worry over that. Don't worry over whether or not, well, I didn't get to face. I don't know if I should do Facebook Live or YouTube Live. When you're first starting out trying to build an audience, don't worry about the medium so much, right? Focus on whether or not what you produce is really going to help people. Find the medium where people resonate with you. So again, keep trying the medium until you find one. Maybe it's going to be your blog. Maybe it's going to be a podcast. Maybe it's going to be a regular training. Maybe it's going to be a YouTube live. Maybe it's going to be a Udemy course. Maybe it's going to be something where people are saying, "Wow, man, that was really awesome. Can you do some more of that?" Um, uh, um, be careful with advice from your peers, right? Be careful, because again, if the people that are sort of coming to your stuff, they're not going to be buying from you, and they're not going to be promoting you as an affiliate. I would be careful about people who say you're awesome, or people who are saying you're not awesome, and they're not necessarily going to be part of your audience that you're going to be able to monetize anyway. Take what they say with a grain of salt, right? Don't elevate their opinion about what you're doing over and above a client or a customer. Don't elevate their opinion over and above someone who's going to be promoting you as an affiliate, right? So be careful when somebody who is in the same niche as you, or the same classification as you, and they've got advice for you that's helpful, right? um, People will find you if you meet their needs. So again, don't focus so much on the medium. I've seen this a number of different times. If you move over from, let's say, I don't know, Periscope to YouTube Live to Facebook Live, if people are kind of really into what you're producing, they'll follow you. Right now, then you're not gonna get everybody over there, But again, the most important thing is that you produce something and you're connecting with people because you're talking to them about something that's going to help them. And so they'll follow you if you really do have what they need. Um, Find out what people want to know, right? What do they want to know? And again, you're not going to be able to sell everything. You're not going to be able to do training on everything. Not going to be able to do a podcast, but do find out what they want to know. What do people in your niche? What do they really, really, really want to know? Be specific. Write them down if you need to. Mike Koenig's, he when he years ago used to own a service called Traffic Geyser, right? We used to blast videos all over the place. But he said something years ago that I have and that's really stuck with me. That I don't know if he still says this now, but it's very true. You need to ask the 10 frequently asked questions, right? You need to be able to answer those things. You need to know those things in your niche. You need to know the 10 questions they should be asking, right? So again, narrow down your topic to your sub niche, right? Your sub niche, and then find out, well, what are the questions everybody's asking about that sub niche? What are the questions they should be asking? Maybe they don't know to ask. Um, Again, a book that I have been talking about over the last month that I'm just really super high on is written by Donald Miller. One of the ways you worry over the message over the medium, make your customers the hero of your story. Make them the hero. So in other words, in your message, whatever you're trying to communicate, it's not about you, right? You are not you again. Now again, I know some people have star power and they make it about themselves. It's not about you. It's about them. So where can you get people results? Where can you get people things that you can then start to help them, right? Where can you get people results that you can then talk about their results as opposed to who you are, right? Survey people, right? Survey people. Again, really simple. You don't have to go out and buy a 10, $100 survey application. You can use Survey Monkey. There's one that's Survey Monkey's free, in fact, and there's one in Get Response. You just really need a really simple survey application, right? Now, obviously, the more complex you do it, you can use it in some other areas, but you got to find out what people are thinking. You got to find out what people are asking, and really until you know the right questions, you really don't really want to start getting out there with surveys till you know what people are asking right now. So message over medium, repurpose over renting, right? Repurpose over renting. What do I mean by that? In other words, um, what you have to understand, right? When you are on YouTube and you're on Facebook, right? You're doing a Facebook Live on a regular basis. You're doing a regular Instagram post. You're renting their space, right? There, and for the most part, they're giving it to you for free. You do not own that space. You do not own your YouTube channel. You do not own your Facebook profile. You don't own your fan page. You do not own your Facebook group. You don't own any of that, right? You're renting it, and so you got to be thinking like a renter. So in other words, if you're gonna rent something, you got to keep track of your stuff, and your stuff needs to start out right on your something you have. You need a self-hosted blog if possible, right? Now, again, that might not be where you are right now. You might need to get that, but you need to have your stuff on your site. And you own it until that point. If I decide that I don't like your Facebook page, right? And I'm a let's say I'm a Facebook. I don't know. I'm an administrator. I don't like what you posted, and I can just decide, okay, well, you know what? We're just going to take this out right now, right? And have you ever tried to get a hold of anybody in a social media platform about something of yours? Almost impossible, right? So again, make sure you own your stuff and treat it like stuff you own, as opposed to renting somebody else's. Now, again, I mean, I'm not saying that Facebook's going to do this or YouTube's going to do this or anything like that. I'm saying though you're renting it. So again, repurpose stuff. So in other words, start the content out on something of yours, then move it over into all these other areas, right? So don't create the original content necessarily on Facebook. Now again, I know that if you do a Facebook Live, they're going to give you more love because obviously they want your content, right? They want to own the content. But again, if you don't treat it like it's yours, then you have a hard time then repurposing other places. So you want to have one piece of content. You want to distribute it a lot of different ways, right? One content piece distributed many ways. YouTube, the content. right? So in other words, you created it, now YouTube it. You create the content, now LinkedIn the content, right? Get it on LinkedIn. You create the content, now Facebook the content, right? Get it on Facebook. You create the content, now Pinterest the content. You created it, it's yours. You create the content, put it in forums, right? Again, when you own it, you treat it like something you own. All you're doing is repurposing it in these other areas, these other places where you participate. Now, again, if you use somebody else's medium to create the content, it's not yours. You have to understand that, right? And they treat it as theirs, and they tell you it's theirs when you sign when you click disclosure agreements, right? It's theirs. So again, treat it like yours. Use these places as places to repurpose it, right? You own it, get it onto your site. Make sure your titles are optimized for search. You don't know which one's going to take off. You don't know which one is going to you don't know which one is going to be found in search. You don't know which one's going to be the thing that people kind of latch on to. Again, optimize the titles. Make sure that they are search engine friendly. When you have a keyword, use it, right? I'm not talking about going, going crazy, right? But use keywords when you have. If you know your keyword searchable and people are looking for it, use the keywords. Optimize your titles for search. Optimize your titles for headlines. Make them clickable. So in other words, you want to make sure that it's something that's enticing when people see it, right? So if it's kind of like it's kind of like the regular everyday thing, and it doesn't make people want to click it, then I mean you can be doing some awesome work. You could be writing some fantastic content on your blog, but if your post isn't clickable, you and I know how noisy things are on the internet, right? People are into all kinds of things, and they've got all kinds of things going on in their lives. They've got all kinds of things going on, even just on the internet. You've got to have something that sort of makes them want to click it. So again, you might not be a hypey person, but you got to hype up your stuff a little bit, right? You got to put a little hype into your headline. Your headline is supposed to make people stop and think, right? It's supposed to make them stop and think. That's why most headlines are in red, not because not because red's just a great color, but it's designed just like a stop sign to psychologically make them stop in their tracks. Now, if you stop me in my tracks, you don't say anything, right? Then I'm just going to stop. I'm going to move on then, right? But when you stop me, right, you put your headline in red, or you got something that gets my attention. Now you got to say something. Now you got to make me want to click. It's got to not just be I don't know how to get traffic. You've got to make that title something I want to click on for some reason. Got to be benefit driven. Let's see. It doesn't look like I finished this slide. But let's go in. You have to collect leads, right? When you're building an audience, and you have to be direct about that. So in other words, every time you're doing something, ask for the opt-in, right? Keep your opt-ins at the point of entry when it's possible. So if you do a webinar, make sure that the opt-in happens automatically, right? So if your webinar system doesn't automatically put people into your autoresponder, then you may have the wrong autoresponder. You may have the wrong you might have the wrong autoresponder. You might even have the wrong webinar system. Your webinar system ought to put people into your leads list. And if you don't know how to do that, you can get Zapier to do that. Sometimes your autoresponder might not connect with a particular webinar system, but if you can't do that, then go get Zapier to do that. And if you're doing webinars and your leads don't automatically go into your lead list, and you can't do it in Zapier, you got to get something at minimum that Zapier can handle the two. I know GoToWebinar does that and a few other webinar systems. You've got to make sure that if you go through the trouble of doing a webinar, you put on this fantastic content, you got to get the people into your lead list, right? You got to get people into your autoresponder. During your, when you're collecting leads, you need to make sure that you keep subscribers informed about what's coming up, right? So in other words, whatever your next thing is, tell people about it, right? Keep talking about it, talk it up. Work on engagement, ask your audience questions, right? And again, don't ask them questions just because, that's what they say to do. You got to ask questions. Ask stuff you're interested in, right? Find out about things that would help you help them, right? The old Jerry Maguire line, help me help you, right? Ask questions of your audience so it will help you help them. Ask for feedback, right? You put something out there, ask people how it is, how they like it. What could be better? What could they do better? right? Ask for feedback. Okay, productize and monetize, right? Productize and monetize. So you got this audience, right? Number one thing I hear about, let's say YouTube channels, is there's no way to make money. People are going to be poor if they do it. And I guess there's some reservation about, if people are paying you AdSense, right? Can you do product placement? I'm going to suggest that even if you have a regular, podcast, you're trying to get sponsorship, start selling stuff at the beginning, right? So don't even pretend like you're not going to sell stuff. You're going to start building up an audience. You don't want to back yourself into a corner by building something up and then getting this audience, getting people to starting to come on a regular basis. Then you say, oh, well, I need people to buy stuff, so I'm going to make this offer, and you get people all offended, right? You might as well get them offended from the beginning, right? You don't want people coming to your stuff, and then once they start coming, you make an offer, and then I mean, they don't like the fact you started making offers after you started. So do it at the beginning, right? Do it when you first start building an audience. You should always have something for sale, always, right? Always have something for sale. Um, have a Udemy course or a Skillshare course, Kindle or Create Space, Amazon Advantage. Put some stuff up there. And now, here's the thing about if you're doing a regular training or a podcast or blog post. In terms of what you put in there, please do not try to solve all the problems on a particular topic, right? First of all, you can't do it in one blog post. You can't do it in one training session. You can't do it in one webinar. You can't solve all the problems, or even on one topic. So don't even try. And you know what? The fact of the matter is, when you try to do that, you're cheating people, because you're taking all your years of experience. You're trying to solve everything on one webinar, and you're boiling everything down, something that you took years to learn. So don't even try to do that. Right now, what you want to do when you productize something is you want to make sure the product completes the training or the education, right? So you give them access to a product that will help them to complete the training. You should not be trying to solve every single cotton picking thing in one session. They have to go get your product in order to get the whole solution. And again, I'm not just talking strategy. I'm talking about even for their best interest. So and I say this from experience, right? As a trainer, because I've tried to do that, and it wasn't really until I don't know, I don't know how many years ago it was, but there was a point at which, I mean, it just kind of dawned on me that even after I had really kind of felt like I had covered everything, I really didn't cover everything. And there were still questions afterward. And I said, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to have to create something so that people can go get it at their leisure, right? That's really what you have to do. So just again, so don't try to get one topic and solve everything. Get your PLR offers hosted. I don't know how many times I have to say this in a number of different ways, but if you have bought a PLR offer, get them on your hosting, right? And when you're doing a training, when you're writing a blog post, when you're doing your podcast, when you are doing a video, mention your offers, right? Mention them, right? In context. You're talking about Facebook. Hey, as a matter of fact, we've got a Facebook product that tells you how to do that. You can get that at www.yourdomain.com, right? Whatever the case is. But you should have, first, if you have PLR offers right now, today, get them hosted, right? Get a buy button on them and get them hosted. Should they be on JVZoo or Warrior Plus? I don't care. It doesn't matter where they are, right? It doesn't matter. Get them hosted. Get a PayPal button on there. Get a Bitcoin button on there, right? Get them hosted so that people can start buying them, right? Whatever you're doing with your audience, you should be mentioning your offers. And again, you're not going to hear me say anything about an affiliate offer in this presentation, because I don't necessarily believe that you and I should be running people off to somebody else's page first, right? Again, nothing wrong with affiliate offers. I do them too. However, you should have a number of offers of your own, right? And if you don't want to create them all, wonderful. Then get your PLR offers, get some buy buttons on them, and get them hosted. When you're building your audience, you should be sending people to your PLR offers on your domain. Now, use PLR in different combinations to create new products, right? So in other words, get 3 or 4 PLR products, mix them, mash them up into something totally new, right? Mash them up into something totally new, and then present that to your people, right? Mash them into, to create something entirely new. You'd be surprised what you think, what you would do if you just took I don't know, maybe a weekend to figure out what you had, right? And if you really creative, right? Even if you're not so creative, you could probably find a number of ways to combine PLR offers to create something cool that would not be called the same thing that when it was sold, right? So again, use PLR in different combinations and create new products. Create new products from scratch, and then you beef them up with PLR. So in other words, we've done a number of technical PLR videos, right? PLR video courses. Well, listen, why are you trying to explain what cPanel is? Right? Don't try to explain what cPanel is. You go ahead and explain the problem you're trying to solve. You buy our cPanel PLR and you put that inside your package. Why are you trying to explain to people what Udemy is and how to use it? Right? Tell them they got to go to Udemy as part of your strategy, then get our Udemy PLR and stick it inside of your package. What I'm saying to you is that, you should be beefing your products up with PLR. Don't try to explain everything, but make sure you get everything explained by using PLR inside of your products where you're solving the real problems. Arrange your PLR and product line sequence and create drip membership. So in other words, start thinking about sequencing, right? So in other words, there's a sequence of things that you can put things in, right? You can do things. And listen, I have seen this done where basically all you're doing is you're setting up thank you pages. You're setting up an autoresponder. You're setting up an autoresponder to get once a month. Somebody buys the membership. They get put into an autoresponder. They get a product once a month, right? And all you're doing is you're writing this email once a month, and you're setting up your thank you pages. Again, arrange the product line sequence and create drip memberships. One product monthly, delivered through a hidden URL, and then set up your autoresponder or membership site. It's really, really, really simple when you do it that way. Now, again, it's up to you to try to figure out what the common thread is, right? You've got to figure out what the membership is going to be about. But when you start thinking about things in a product line sequence, then what you're not trying to do is to come back month after month and selling something over again, right? You're going to give it to people. You're going to give it to people by getting them into something where they can get access to some value once a month. And again, you determine the pricing, but if you're building an audience, right, you've done the hard part. Right? If you're building an audience, you've already got people listening to you. Now, what you're trying to do is you're saying, well, hey, I recommend you listen to this. I recommend this, you get this, because on a monthly basis, this will help you to do whatever it is you're trying to help people do. Right? Productize and monetize your audience. Right? Do not build up this audience and then at the last minute, and listen, don't make it a side issue, right? You're in business, right? People need to know and again, if they're not going to listen to you because they're offended because you're asking for the sale, then they're not your audience, right? They're not, right? So again, I'm not saying that you have to be kind of obnoxious, right? Most of you, I mean, if you're listening to this training, I can almost reasonably agree you're probably not that person, right? 99%, I'm probably pretty sure you're not that person, right? Now, again, I don't think you need to be obnoxious. I'm just saying, don't make people even think that you're not in this to sell stuff, right? Help them, but also make an offer for the sale. Okay, so you can make sure to get our Bitcoin PLR at the plrshow.com/new, right? That's where you can find our new Bitcoin PLR. You can get it over there. If you are watching this and somehow you're not on our daily newsletter where we talk about PLR every day, you can go over to the plrshow.com and you can sign up, right? Get access to our daily newsletter. And like I said, on an everyday basis, pretty much 364 days a year, we're talking about PLR. So again, get over there, get signed up, and then you'll hear from me actually tomorrow morning. We have a Facebook group, and pretty much what I use that for is for notifications, right? So if you are on Facebook all the time and you want to find out you want to keep track of when the webinars are going to be, I will post to that group. I don't do a whole lot of posting over there. I don't do a whole lot of chatting over there, but I do post the replays. I do post the notifications. You can get those over there at facebook.com/groups/the PLR show. Um, Most of my attention, I really focus on our training channel, which is at youtube.com/game mindshare. Highly suggest you subscribe, right? So if you're not subscribed, go head over there and get subscribed so you get all of our videos and all of our training. And then just do a search over there, right? Do a search inside of our channel and see if you can find something that you're trying to find the answer to when it comes to PLR, right? We might even have the answer to it already. Now, closing tonight at midnight is the Evergreen PLR. You can get that at superfastactionbonus.com/Aurelius T, right? And that's really the way we suggest that you create the need in people to sell technical PLR, right? So you need to teach them the strategy so that they need to go and buy the technical, right? And whether or not you choose to sell them a technical course or you choose to put the technical in place or do it, right? That's the way you kind of get them hooked, right? You get them hooked by teaching them strategy first. Okay, everybody. Well, that's about it. Are there any questions? Any questions? Do you have any questions? You can write them there in the box. Otherwise, I appreciate y'all being here on Saturday afternoon. I've got a little something to do, so I can't be there tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time like I normally am. But appreciate those of you who came out. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the box. Otherwise, once again, I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.